on episode number 127 of the Seacoast Beverage Lab podcast. I am Brian, the Seacoast Beverage Lab right here, and for November 9th, 2015, we're getting close to that big 130. You know, that famous 130th episode that we've been talking about for all these episodes. We're getting close to it, but we have a lot to talk. You know, the famous 130 milestone. I think it's like the wheat anniversary of podcasts for all I know. But yeah, we all participated in Portland Beer Week. Carla way more so than us. But we definitely want to talk about that and a bunch of other cool stuff. But first, I am drinking, delivered fresh today at my doorstep by Frosty DG on Twitter. I'm drinking the Bear Brown Ale by Treehouse.
Ooh.
So it should be noted that the can just has kind of like a sticker label on it, as opposed to my backup beer, the Julius, which is a nice wraparound label thing going on here. So that's coming up next. But I do appreciate Frosty DG for dropping those things off, because even though it's close to my hometown, my dad hasn't visited that place in a while. So as much as I can yell at Rick Brews, I have to rely on my New Hampshire brethren.
Nice.
And it's actually tasty. And little known fact, I'm a big dark beer fan. People know that, but I love brown ales, and it's good. I think New Hampshire has a nice resume of brown ales from the newest breweries like Paradigm from Kelson, the Smutty Nose Brown Ale obviously, and the 1623 from Seven Settlement. So we have plenty of brown ales to pick from.
And that would be the old brown dog or the really old brown dog?
I'm a really old fan. I do like the basic old brown dog just because, but really old. I mean, you can't go wrong with a Smutty Nose Big Beer. This episode is brought to you by. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, so enough about that. Yeah, great beer. Thanks again, Frosty. And Carla, what's going on? Welcome. I'm surprised you're sitting in front of us right now.
Yes, I'm sitting in front of you, but I am notably not drinking a beer. I am taking a 7-day, just kind of giving my liver a little bit of a rest, drinking a lot of non-beer fluids, as opposed to this. It was an awesome week, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later, but I am definitely a little bit tuckered out, so I figured eating healthy food and, laying off the beer for a week is probably not a bad idea.
Very
true. Do you have
a
a martini?
No, I'm just giving up the booze altogether for 7 days, so it's going to be a lot of water.
Pretty cool.
Pretty cool. Yeah, if you guys are, you guys want to tweet out the link to this too?
Yes.
Sorry, because I'm getting some text that obviously. So if you're watching this now, you've figured it out, or if you're listening to it, my website's kind of janky right now, so I'm posting the direct link to the YouTube right on the Twitter, because websites, because reasons and websites. But
when you use open source free technology websites and kind of maintain them, it can be tough after time.
It's the truth. Speaking of tough and rugged is his nickname, Sean Jansen.
There you go.
What's up?
I'm Sean Jansen from twobearguys.com. I'm currently enjoying a Berkshire Steel Rail out of their new 12-ounce bottle.
Oh, nice.
Can you see this bottle?
Let's see.
Show up.
Yeah, bring it up a little bit.
There you go. Let's see here.
Nice.
Okay, sorry about that. These are from a Canada bottling company, and they're all recyclable. So if you buy Berkshire, they'll actually take them back to the brewery, and they'll send them back to Canada once they have a truckload of it. And I guess there's a big Canadian thing to recycle all of your bottles. Yes. So they all use a standard bottle size, and it's a little bit thicker glass. It's a little bit taller and narrower, and it's just kind of like the standard that they use in Canada, which I wasn't aware of. So don't throw away your Berkshire bottles. If you have a chance to go out and visit Brian's parents, you can possibly go bring your bottles back. Yeah, I'm not saying that you're going to get a nickel back for them.
Just throw my parents' lawn.
Yeah. Give him a Rick Brews, and he'll drive him over to South Deerfield.
For sure. Wait, so is that? It looks a little bit thicker than like the standard Maine Beer Company glass, or is it the same?
So this is a 12 ounce, not a 16.9. So it looks it looks taller than what it is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but the glass, because of recycling, it is, and these are new glasses. We would expect that over time, you would see back here the marks of the bottling machines after the bottles get worn and reused a couple times. I think, after healthcare, after Canada proving that they could do healthcare better than the U.S., we should take another nod from their book
Yeah.
and maybe recycle our bottles. Maybe have a standard size, and people can all, maybe there's like a central company that will...
standard for Americans? We can't express our personal individual freedoms? What? No.
SBLPodcast for President 2016. All three of us. We'll figure it out.
How else could you have 17 different battery sizes?
Jeez.
Yeah, right?
That's what I'm saying. Oh, my gravy. So, yes, all healthcare issues aside, the beer is still as good as it was outside of that bottle? John?
It's wonderful. It's a classic Massachusetts beer. Steel Rail Pale Ale.
For sure. I love it. Big fan. And Berkshire's good. And I enjoy the raspberry barley wine when it comes out. That's a tasty treat.
That's usually a February. So right now their specialty would be Imperial Stout.
Yes. Let's go. Oh, and obviously it goes without saying that their Oktoberfest is in the upper echelon of elite Marzens.
Yeah, I believe that our former fan, the Norman Miller, was a big fan of the of Berkshire's Oktoberfest. Yep. We are moving into cabin fever season.
Oh man, that'll warm you right up. I like cabin fever.
It's a winter strong ale.
Nice. I remember having it for the first time at the Seacoast Winter Brew Fest. It was a tasty treat.
Perfect.
That was back in the day.
Back in the day.
Back when we were just rookies running a beer fest. Now it's just like a well-oiled machine. Just come in.
Coming up to the 5th annual Seacoast Winter Brew Fest this year.
Man, we've seen some stuff. It's been that long. Oh my gosh.
Portsmouth Beer Week's also turning 7.
Awesome.
And I was looking at my own calendar and noticing that in January, Two Beer Guys turns 10.
Oh wow. Jeez. Well, we're gonna have to have some sort of celebration somewhere. So
exactly.
Let's figure that out.
Big bash.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna go buy a card for 10-year-old and like.
No, it's definitely 10 1-year-old cards because they're all babies, except for Amber, who's the mother of the group.
Or it's like maybe when you turn 21, you just stay 21 for every year after that.
I think that's what that is, yeah. Or I'm 29 plus 1. I don't know. But yeah, so let's stop talking about that because we're all getting old, right? Except for me, I'm the youngest one here. Let's go. But we have a bunch to talk about. I want to kick it off by talking about something not beer related for a second. I mentioned last week that the coming Saturday, which was 2 days ago, I was participating in a 24-hour gaming fundraiser for the group Extra Life, and Extra Life donates money every November. Gamers get online and play games for 24 hours to donate to their local children's hospital, part of the Children's Miracle Network of hospitals. And I was like, what the hell? I'll give it a shot. I like video games. I like 24 hours in a day, and let's see if I can do it. So I put up a little page, and sure enough, I raised a crap load of money, and I am super grateful. And the thank you notes have not gone out. My goal was $500, which I'm like, I have no idea how or what. I don't know if that's even possible to raise, but by the end of it, I raised $600.
Woo!
So and
nice work.
Oh yeah, I mean, so the easy part is sort of me on the other end of the camera, just playing video games 24 hours. I've faded in and out for sure around like 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock. I turned off my camera, so if you were watching me live, because you could watch the whole thing live, you couldn't see me, but you could see what game I was playing. But sure enough,
you might have died a couple times.
For sure. I mean, there was a couple times where so behind these is like a couch and a TV where I was sitting, and I would lay down and I would play a game, and then I realized that I dozed off, and I'm like, I'm not moving. Like, I'm like, oh shit. Yeah. But again, there's on my Extra Life page, which is on my blog, it mentions a bunch of the donators, some of which I don't even know, which I extremely grateful, but I'm going to contact everybody. The generosity of some people is kind of confusing, but also like it means a lot. So. Nevertheless, it was fun doing it. I'm having a recap typed up right now as the train comes by. But tomorrow I'll have a recap because we had my wife join me for about 3 or 4 hours of it.
Whoa, that's love.
Yep. Oh, she joined. It was like she joined me for the first.
Did I miss what you were playing, what game it was?
So I played a bunch of different games. I think by the end I played like 10 different games.
Oh wow, okay.
So I mixed it up. But so yeah, my wife joined me for the first 3 hours and the last one, and then in the middle, like sometime towards dinner time, Ben joined me. BM Watts on Twitter joined me for a couple hours to play some Guitar Hero and some Super Mario Maker. It was super fun. I played some games that I wouldn't usually play, and some people like to watch it, and we just freaking rocked out. But
Now, do you have a, like, at the end, does it tell you, like, you've played so many games for so many hours, so many people have watched you? Did you get stats?
Well, yeah, so as that's all through Twitch. So as you're streaming, you can see who's there. I think at most I might have had 20 people watching because Ben and I were playing Guitar Hero, and people were asking us questions as we were playing. So I was able to like field some questions about the game and stuff. So it's all through Twitch. You can see. I've just recorded all the games that I played. I mean, like I said, maybe played about 10. But yeah, so people can just go on Twitch and say, okay, who's playing this game, and it'll come up. But yeah, and I was tweeting the hell out of it, so people were coming in and checking it out, so it's pretty neat.
Now, did you see how much so was Extra Life, it was like one weekend that people were doing it?
Yeah, so it's the first or the second weekend of November every year, I believe is what the date is. Okay. So there's tons of people doing it, and I was part of a team. You can sign up for a team just to say you're part of some team, and the GiantBomb.com team is a video game site. So I was just part of that team, and I think there was over a couple hundred people doing the same fundraiser. So, and there's no like solid rules. Like you don't have to, 24 hours obviously is crazy. But I took like a 10-minute break every hour. I went to get food, for half an hour one time. So I'm like, I just need to. And actually, when I went to get food, I kept the stream going, but I played our podcast video from last week.
Perfect.
So if anyone hopped in, they caught a little bit of the podcast. So that's cool.
Did you see how much was raised altogether?
I can tell you that right now. I got an email.
It's $6.36 million.
Wow, yes. That's awesome.
$6.36 million.
And all of our parents said video gaming would just make us amount to nothing, never accomplish anything, playing all those video games, get outside, go.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, it's I got that all the time from my parents, but I mean, and even when I told them that, they're like, you're doing what for what? And I'm like, yeah, we're trying this out. So, long story short, I'll definitely be doing it again next year. If not, just for doing it for the people that helped out hugely this time. I'm speechless, but yeah, it was super cool.
Will you go for 36 hours?
Nope, just 24.
24, that's your limit?
Yeah, and I think I didn't start with it, but what made me kind of like nervous was I went to Google and put a timer up on my screen, so I knew like how much time I had left, and every time I would look over, I'm like, wait, I thought like an hour went by. Why did like 2 seconds just go by? But yeah, so especially when the lights are off at 4 in the morning, and you're like, no. I might want to start earlier next time. Like
your help.
Yeah, so I got some granola. I got a gallon of like iced tea. So I was well. It looked like I was preparing for like the apocalypse, but it was pretty cool. Yeah, big thanks to Ben and my wife for helping me out because otherwise I'd be going like insane by myself. Nevertheless, it's cool. I got some photos coming up. So some good reaction shots of Ben who didn't know how to play Guitar Hero, and he actually plays guitar.
They are not the same thing.
Not at all. But I mean, it was cool. It was cool watching him learn. It was like, oh, so this is what you do, and then just me, just like, yep, I'm not perfect, but it's just like I don't play guitar, but here's how I do this. But yeah, it's some good stuff. But check it out on the page Mañana. I will be posting it up, and I'll transition to Sean with this, and then we'll go to Carla for the overall thing. But the other wicked badass thing I did last week, and little known fact again about me, I'm a homebody. During the week, stay home, play video games, whatever. Rarely go out, and I'm going out only to do like Let's Talk beer, the occasional tasting at the hotel that I usually do, but I don't go out. And Portland is like 1 week in a month maybe. Sean, I think you texted me last week like, want to go up tomorrow? I'm like, let's just go. Like what are we doing here? So Sean and I took a little trip up on was it Wednesday?
Yep, Wednesday.
To check out Portland Beer Week. So Sean, what do we get into?
So first on the way up, it was your idea to stop off at Banded Horn in Biddeford. You had been there before, but Eric and I had not. So we stopped off there, kind of navigated through Biddeford's minor rush hour, We ended up at the tasting room, which is right next to a Portland pie company, which was pretty cool. And we found ourselves in like this really tall room, like super dark, with it was like it felt like it was almost like an interrogation room at some point. And you're sitting there, and there's a small little bar. Some folks were playing beanbag cornhole inside, and we just kind of had a couple different samples and tried some of the different beers. His staff was super courteous, but for a Wednesday night at like 5 o'clock, it was pretty slow. So the regular crowd had not rushed in yet. So after that, we decided to trek up to Portland, and we decided to stop off at the Great Lost Bear, where Sebago was doing they called it a tap takeover. I think really it's better off calling it a pint night, because I think they had maybe 3 or 4 different beers on, featuring rye.
Rye?
Ned
Ryerson.
Ned Ryerson.
Ryerson, yes.
Yeah, Ned Ryerson.
Yeah.
So that was cool. We got to chat with some of the Sebago guys. We actually saw our former rep. He will be forever known, Sebago Ryan.
Nice.
Cool dude. So we had some food there, and then we decided to trek over to find a spot downtown. So we first started at
Thirsty Pig. Did you go there first when I caught up with you?
Yes, yes. Thirsty Pig, yes.
Thirsty Pig,
we went to Thirsty Pig first. They were doing the mushroom and beer pairing, but we had got there after it was finished. I guess they had 50 different mushroom.
Well, 50 plates of it. So basically, I think it was maybe nine pairings, but it was a prepared plate. But they had only made 50 servings of it, thinking, okay, not that many people could possibly be interested in just mushrooms. But it was apparently very popular. I was actually sad that I missed it by the time I got down.
Yeah, and I mean we showed up maybe an hour and a half after it even started, so people came hungry for some fresh mushrooms. That's for sure.
Yeah, they ate it up pretty quick.
Yeah.
But the beer selection, as always, was pretty solid, and I think that Carla, they're one of the co-founders of Portland Beer Week.
Oh yeah,
so they're heavily involved in for every night they had something going on. So today they're probably really tired.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but what did I have? I finally tried that pastry beer from
21st Amendment. Yeah, toasted pastry.
Pretty good. I didn't realize that it wasn't named after Pop-Tart. What was named because they're in a Kellogg's factory, you said?
Exactly, yeah. They're in a former Kellogg's factory in San Leandro, which is the other side of the bay of San Francisco.
Gotcha.
So
yeah. Sweet.
So after that, we ventured over to try to get into Central Ale House.
Central Provisions.
Central Provisions.
No, Central Provisions, sorry. And we got to the door, there was 4 of us, and they were like, room for 2.
Like, none shall pass.
Exactly. It's like, you can wait a half an hour if you'd like, but instead we decided to go down and check out some of the other place that's on that same little side street, the Cobblestone side street, and we bumped into the Stock Exchange, which we've talked about on the show, but none of us had ever been into it. Yeah. And it was pretty interesting that the beer menu was on the TVs, and the prices would change based on the popularity or the how many people are buying that beer. So if more people buy an X beer, then that price goes up and up and up. And every 300 seconds, the price would then change.
It was drastic too, because I mean, so the selection there, not for the big beer fan, but definitely something that even if you don't like what they have, you'd still want to try it. So you got a Bud, and then I think it went up $1.50 after you bought it or something like that, or $1. And by you, I mean Sean bought a Bud. I'm just putting it on the record.
Hey, we all drank some of it, so.
Yeah, I'm just saying we all took a sip, but I'm just saying.
It was 31 degrees.
Yeah, hey, it was below freezing.
It tastes that cold though, but whatever. That made it in my head, but
it was cool to see like the instant kind of thing. So you can see how you can kind of get into it, but it's also kind of scary. I think the woman behind the bar didn't really know anything about the stock exchange in general. I didn't either, but it's just like she didn't seem too excited to be like in front of all these sweet tickers. Like I'd be so pumped to be there. Like, oh, all these numbers.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Want to buy something? Come on.
And it wasn't just beer either. It was all of their drinks and even appetizers.
Right, so it was all mixed in there, which I thought was a little weird. So it was like, oh, okay, so a Bud Light and a like a chili cheese, whatever. And I was like, wait, is that a beer? Oh no, that's not a beer. Okay, that's an appetizer. That's definitely not a beer. I hope that's not a beer. You know.
Yeah.
And I think they were saying that the Budweiser goes down all the way to like $3.50 during like the time that we were there, and that on a busy Saturday night it could go all the way up to $9.
Oh.
So everybody ordering it all at once will just be flooding the market, and the prices go up. It's pretty interesting how it does that.
Yeah. I mean, there are some weird things about it, though. Like, if you picture the typical person who goes into a pub like that on a really busy night, I just don't feel like people are going to pay attention to the prices. I feel like the guy who's going to order 10 buds anyway is going to end up ordering 10 buds that are all totally different prices for, like, no reason. So I feel like it's a little weird. I'm not sure it's a benefit to the beer drinker unless you're really paying attention.
Yes.
But I did like seeing, like some of the better beers on there could go down to a lower price. So if you're willing to be patient and be like, oh, hey, now I can get a Goose Island for $3.50. That's cool, as opposed to $6 or wherever it would be, the rest of town. So, it was. Right. It was interesting.
There wasn't enough people in there for us to actually analyze how it fully worked.
Right.
But we did experience. I thought in a different environment with different beers on it, it would be interesting to see what people's buying decision was, because I do feel that people will buy based on price.
And let's not forget, before we move on to Central Provisions real quick, that it wasn't just drinks. Food was also part of that stock exchange, but no one bought anything, so we never saw the hummus go up or down.
Yeah.
I was waiting for the hummus or like whatever, like the pizza bites, just to do a little move. But you would think like after being flat forever, I don't even know how this is a guy that doesn't know anything about the stock market, but you think like maybe they would just try to push it down a little bit. It's like, oh, someone's gonna buy the hummus now that I dropped it a quarter.
Yeah.
I'd do that.
Yeah, I've seen other systems described where they have things like flash sales or a flash crash, where like for a couple minutes everything goes down by $1. And I don't know if this system had that capability. It didn't look like it to me, but I have seen that described in other places. So there might be some more functionality that comes into play when there's more people.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
And if you're looking for those in the Portsmouth area looking for kind of like a local option that does something like that, I believe it's every Sunday the Gaslight does it.
Mm.
Or maybe a Wednesday, but I know the Gaslight participates in some sort of beer.
It does. They do something, but it'd be cool if they had the same technology.
I was gonna say, I bet it is not. It's not anything as impressive looking as what we saw, except the lighting. Did we mention the lighting?
Yeah, I was just typing you. As long as you know the same lights, God.
Yeah. Oh my God! It was like blinding green when we walked in.
Yeah, so it was types of LEDs, right? Which they have to be those ones that you can tune to like infinite colors. But when we walked in, it was literally like hurt your eyes. Everything was awash in this like absolute neon green. It was bizarre. And then I don't know if it was the woman behind the bar or whatever. We were complaining about it, so she switched it to another color, which also just messed with my eyes.
But it was better.
It was better, but it still was very jarring and strange.
Yeah, that kind of lighting, even
like accent lighting, not like the whole lighting for the whole place. You know what I mean?
That lighting did not belong on a Wednesday. That's Friday, Saturday lighting. You don't need to pull that on a weekday here. But so then we walked over. I'll take it real quick from here because it's very interesting. So Portland Beer Week, awesome. Didn't expect to see a New Hampshire brewery represented, which was pretty badass. So we ended up walking back to Central Provisions, where they were having it seemed like kind of like a tasting menu thing going on?
Yeah, so it was like pairing. Yeah. They had special things on the menu just for Beer Week, and they had a beer and a possible spirit to go with each. Item. So they had specifically paired those up. So I think I want to say there were like 9 or 10 things. Yeah.
And then the breweries feature that we saw was Band and Horn Foundation, Tributary making the sweet appearance. They had a couple things going on. I think they were part of the Mexican beer night as well, over at Hello Good Tacos.
Yep.
So good to see them there. Todd Mott was actually there. He looked at me and he says, "Hey, this is Enforcement Beer Week. Get out of here." All right. But then a spoiler alert, big surprise. Henniker was there. From the only Henniker on Earth, and
The only Henniker on Earth, Mr. Dave Pac-Man Paquette was there.
I knew something was going on when even the bartender had a Henniker shirt on. I'm like, something's amiss, and of course Dave was there. But yeah, it was cool to see New Hampshire kind of coming in, which could start a bigger conversation of what does a beer week mean really for a town. But I didn't mind it.
No, I thought it was cool. I thought it was great.
And then
I was just happy to see some of the tributary stuff. I mean, like, people think that we can get that all the time, but we really can't. They don't make a lot, so we don't get it on tap up here very often. So I think I had 2 different tributary beers that night, and I was pretty psyched about that because there just isn't a lot of crossover. Like, I get it. You know, you want to keep your establishments happy before you want to send them up to Portland, but.
And I totally enjoyed the size of those pours. I mean, I was able to try 3 there, and I think they were
like
8.
Yeah, I would say 8 ounces.
So, but the Foundation Black IPA, oh my God, I don't know what.
And then we broke out an Epiphany in a can.
What was it called? What did you say it was, Carla?
Oh, well, you had Epiphany.
So I had Epiphany, but also there was a Foundation Black IPA on there too.
I want to say that's their prototype. That was the prototype.
Yes. Yeah, okay, that must have been it. But that was awesome. Then I had the Epiphany, which was good, and then I also tried for the first time it begins with a D from Bandit Horn.
Daikaju.
Daikaju. Oh, that was super, man.
That's a good beer.
God, and even Ian from friend of the show, past guest, was there as well, representing. Super cool. And the guys from Foundation were there too. So it was like a cool. That was kind of like the central hub was Central Revision that seemed at the night. And then Carla got what the hell did you get again? Like a fritter
with a sidecar.
Yeah. Yeah. So I got I don't remember.
Well, not this. Yeah, but I'm saying the food.
No. So I ordered both the beer and the liquor pairing for the first one. So I had whatever the beer was, and then they had the actual liquor, and then they also had a pickleback to go with it. And the pickleback was made out of the pickle juice, like from somebody's like homemade pickles, and it was really good. But I can't remember. I didn't write down the specifics of which liquor that was. I should look up my notes.
Yeah. Shout out to what is her username? K Swizz on Untapped. She just checked in and she's watching the show, drinking a Steal This Can from Lord Hobo. That's not that rhymed first of all, so points for me. But
and a possible spoiler update. Listen to some upcoming shows, and you might be able to hear from the owner of Lord Hobo himself.
Yes, we're doing a full-on campaign for guests right now because we're awesome. The 3 of us, sometimes Ben, we're awesome, but we're going hard in the direction of getting some more guests. But yeah, so. Carla, the floor is yours. What were some of your because we talked about the pre Portland Beer Week stuff. What were some of your favorites? What did you witness?
Loved the event that was the Homebrewers Pro-Am collab. Every beer there just super high quality. The previous years they've done the same thing, and there's always been like half of them that were like homebrew quality, and like half of them that were great. These were all really good. These could have all been commercial beers. I had a really hard time deciding who should win, and I spread my votes around. So it was that was a great event. That was on Tuesday night, and then the other one I got a kick out of was on Friday at the Great Lost Bear. They had a Maine IPA takeover, and this was a legit takeover. There were
I saw you tweet.
19 Maine IPAs on tap.
Yes.
And I got to try in a flight, mind you, with other people. Yeah. I got to try 13 of them. So I literally tried all of Maine's IPAs, that are like my favorite IPAs. Totally.
Can you give us a rundown of what they are?
So I ended up.
Do you have a list of what they are before you?
I do. I can get it really quick. Hold on one sec, and I will find it. Talk amongst yourself for 2 seconds, and I will show you.
Yeah, so what was I going to say? You mentioned that. So I saw Carla's tweet maybe the day before. I need 18 friends to come with me to...
I was like, oh, please. Okay, I got it. All right, so... so the main ones were Bandit Horn Viridian, Barreled Souls Paper Plains, Baxter Stowaway, Bissell Brothers Substance, Boothbay Ripa IPA, Foundation Epiphany, Funky Bow Hoppy Notes, Geary's IPA, Hidden Cone Hidden Cove Patroon IPA, Liquid Riot Head Stash, Maine Beer Company Lunch, Marsh Island Downrigger, Marshall Wharf Big Twitch, Rising Tide Calcutta Cutter, Rising Tide Zephyr, Rock Harbor Rogue Wave, Sebago Fries Leap, Some Apostrophe, Tributary Imperial IPA. Crazy!
How many could you honestly pick out that were like you knew that was exactly it? No, that you could guess what it was.
Oh, there's a few I could tell visually, but that's a totally different podcast.
Well played.
But what I was surprised about was how different a lot of these were, because I was expecting them to kind of all be very similar, with the exception of one or two.
Right.
These were all very different. But what I did like is that I actually got a chance to like figure out what my preferences were and why.
Yeah.
Like it was like, ooh, I really like the fruity ones that aren't too pineapple-y, but they were very. I was not trying to blind guess what they were.
Why not?
But if I had, I would probably have only been able to ID about 4 or 5 of them, because a lot of these I've literally never had.
Okay.
So like Funky Bow had a new one, Marsh Island had a new one, Sums Apostrophe I think I've only had one other time, but like Paper Planes, Viridian, Substance, and Epiphany, I'm super familiar with. So it was just really cool.
Nice. So you said Marshall Wharf was there?
Yep, Marshall Wharf Big Twitch was on.
What's their situation? Is it just draft only still?
No, they do some cans.
Okay.
They just don't do everything in cans. So they do draft only and growler fills up there, but they do occasionally get cans down here, but it depends on what it is. Usually they'll do, one release at a time. So they'll have something like Big Twitch, or they'll have the Chaos or something. So.
Yep.
But that was just epic, because we could actually, and I'm sitting with a whole bunch of beer people, so we were passing them around going, oh my god, taste this, and wow, this is really strange, and so.
Did you pick your top 3?
Yeah.
I mean,
blindly.
No, well, not blindly, but I did evaluate them side by side. Yes.
Blind was dinner, Julius. No.
Well, it was funny.
See, Carla, you should have done it blindly. We'll go back to one of my favorite articles from Lou Bryson.
Okay.
Which I'll share.
Oh, Lou.
It was practically blindly, though, because we had lists for each handle, and we were just passing them around, going, "Oh, ooh, that's interesting. What's that one?" So we were doing a lot of that. I know, but it's not objective to try 13 at once either. But
all at once in the same cup.
Well, I'll tell you this: when you homebrew judge in a round,
yeah,
13 is a common number.
Yeah.
Somewhere 13 to 15 to 16 is a common that you have to do in a round.
Yep.
So to do that,
I'm
I'm just saying that the number 13 is not that far out of the realm of for comparison purposes.
Right.
Like even when you do the GIBF as a judge, you probably do in a single round 10 to 12.
Yeah, yes.
And typically what you do is, for that part, when you're judging, is that you try them all in some sort of aspect, and then you pick 4 of them to go back and revisit again, and then you kind of pick from those 4 of which ones.
There's a difference between a blind tasting on like the GIBF GABF scale and a blind taste test from like a company like Eater or BuzzFeed, where I bet you, but I don't have enough money to go up against those, big internet or whatever. But I bet you they know the beers that they're judging, but they don't know what they're drinking. Some of the results are like, really. The recent one came out.
I don't know. And I'm not going to name names, but there were a few that I was expecting to love, and I was really disappointed in them.
That's fine, which is fine. Yeah.
So it was one of those things that I was like, I had in my head a preset idea of who was going to be the standouts and who I was really excited to try, and there were a couple that surprised me, and there were a couple that surprised me in a negative way. So I'm happy that I got a chance. But honestly, I just love that I even had the opportunity to do that, because there's never, on a tap list, there are never, more than 3 IPAs on somewhere.
This actually just goes right into my ultimate wish that I want to host for a beer event, is a blind beer tasting festival where that you go in, everything's numbered. There's a certain,
Yes.
like after 45 minutes, you actually can have access to the list.
Yep, I want that
can't
too.
have it at the beginning, and you can only go around trying stuff by numbers. And you don't have to take notes. You could kind of have your own way that you want to score different things. But I think that's there's a lot of times you go up to at a brewfest and you either try something that you haven't had, something that you liked, or just even something random.
Yeah.
When you do it blindly, everything is totally random, and
Yeah.
that you have no idea of what you're actually having before you actually dive into it.
Yeah.
And I think you get a much better experience.
And they were talking about doing the Pro-Am competition next year like that, blind, so you don't know who the brewery was. Because there was some brewery loyalist voting there, I think, that happened.
Oh man, you know that's what happens when there's hanging chads and things and
you know what I mean? So, but they thought of it last, at the end, and they went, you know what? Now that we have a good structure for this, it would not be that hard to just say here's the name of the beer, but not who made it.
If you want to have you seen who's on the cover of the latest Beer Advocate issue?
No.
It would actually.
It's us.
No.
We're not on there yet? Damn it.
Someday.
Yeah, someday.
Jason, Todd, if you're listening, which you're probably not, but maybe someday we'll. But have you seen it? It's actually a New Hampshire restaurant.
Oh, yes, it's Cork and Keg.
Nope.
Cask and Vine?
Cask and Vine. Cork and Keg's in Raymond.
Yes,
they're a good bar.
Great. Yes, I'm
connected to a bowling alley. Cask and Vine is a downtown.
Never been.
Londonderry.
Never been.
So they do basically they call it a distributor's war, where each wholesaler actually submits different beers based on what his categories per weeks are, and you don't know which beers you're having in a flight. You could see the list of beers up on the board, but you don't know which number is which, so you kind of have to pick what you like, and then kind of submit what your score is, and then at the end of every day or even the end of the week, he kind of gives out the score. I like the concept overall. I don't really like the idea of necessarily pitting people against each other, but that's the way that it works right now.
I mean, radio stations do that all the time.
Yeah, I would rather just say, like, here are 5 or 6 different IPAs, and we're not going to tell you which one is which, and have at it, and not have this other thing going on in the background that people don't see.
Yeah, I mean, it is cool. I mean, I like the idea, but yes, but true. Especially when this is this on the business side, you don't have to comment shop if you don't want to, but especially from a distribution shop if you don't want to, but especially from a distribution standpoint too, is if you're pitting kind of the same customers against each other, that might kind of get interesting. Where it's just like. But that happened. Look at any Facebook or Beer Advocate forum, and it's like
it goes back to the other comment that you mentioned, that once people start knowing what they're drinking and who they're supporting, then it actually has an influential value of that. Hey, I want this certain beer to win, so I'm gonna go and I'm gonna know exactly what that tastes like.
But yes,
and it's not straight.
Sure.
It ruins it because it doesn't turn it to be fun. It would be more fun if it was just like.
Yep.
Hey, the problem was that the carrot at the end of it was that, and it's changed every year, but this year, the wholesaler that won got like all the taps for 2.5 months.
It's almost like it's not really pay to play because the consumers are paying to play.
It's a double-edged sword. It's not the fun as if Andy, if you're listening to this, let's have a chat about it. It's no longer fun anymore, because people just know, like, hey, if you want to be able to have certain X beers on because you know what their portfolio is, you're going to go in and vote for that portfolio the whole time.
So, and let's hang on there for a second, because we live in a world where Facebook is everywhere, and breweries don't have websites, but they like to put the bullhorn to the blow. Is it what's a big cheerleading horn thing called? Anyway, they shout on Facebook
Megaphone?
saying, hey. Megaphone's better, yeah, sure. You go to this bar, we're on tap, vote for us. There are breweries that always do that, and brewery loyalists will abide. So that's kind of, yeah. And so, but hey, a call from Jansen to cut that out. Big fan. What beer are you drinking to come out of the shell like that? I want to know what beer you're drinking right now that made you come out of the shell. It's still that steel rail.
Still steel rail.
Hey, it's like that movie. What's that called? There Will Be Blood. You're just working the railroad and just, man, that's good stuff right there.
Lots of opinions here. Sometimes I just try to keep them inside.
The title of this episode is 126. Sean comes out, but that I might have to change it. So Carla, would you change anything about? I mean, well, so first of all, any other cool things, and then I want to follow up with anything you would add for next year or change, because this year seemed like it was almost like a fresh start, even though you didn't need one.
Yeah,
a great website, great everything.
Yeah, they did a great job of keeping the information organized this year. It was really easy to figure out what was going on each night. You know, I really didn't have to do a lot of like one of the first years I kind of did a lot of reorganization of what content was there, so I could say like, okay, here's tonight's events, here's tomorrow's events, and they did a nice job now with the website, and they produced like a printable version. Yeah. They published the printable version of events.
It was all over the place. I loved it.
I was so really happy about that because it was just so clear. Like, oh, okay, tonight's Wednesday. It's going on here, 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 and here, and that was great. As far as what I would change, this is kind of selfish, but a lot of the events started at like 5. And I would love there to be like maybe a 5 o'clock event, but maybe another different event that starts at maybe 8.
But usually, because usually the 5 o'clocks are like or usually the 5 o'clock should be reserved for tastings and stuff like that, but not like events.
But isn't Portland a little bit boring around 6:45, 7 o'clock?
Well, it
is. Fired.
I mean, that's food, but that's food time. That's where the restaurants are, right? So the 5 o'clock sitting should be the food stuff, and then the 8 o'clock should be the go out and have a tap takeover section or meet the brewers or whatever. So for me, it would be awesome if there were a few maybe that overlapped a little bit later. Maybe not every night, just some. There were just a lot of 5 p.m.s, and I always got there like at the tail end of everything because that's when I can get there. So just that. But I gotta say, they gotta keep, whatever they were doing to do all the communication stuff was so awesome. So no matter what they do, and they also picked a lot of different types of events. There were dinners, there were takeovers, but then there were crazy things like Battle of the Brewery Bands, where everybody from the breweries got together and played.
That looked awesome.
Oh my God, it was so much fun.
How was Sum's band? How was Dave Rowan's band?
All good.
God.
Like, I was literally expecting.
Gotta go next year.
And play like like in high school, like your garage, kind of like 5 chords, like we're nervous.
We think we're good, right?
Really, really good.
That's awesome.
We'll just make a note here to everybody that might have been confused. That is a concept that was taken from Portsmouth Beer Week.
Oh boy,
year number 2. No problems there, because hopefully we're going to do freshman orientation in New Hampshire.
No, you should. But it was great, and that was another one. So that if you weren't a beer person, you could still just kind of hang out, listen to some good bands, drink whatever they had. At the venue they also had liquor or whatever. You could just hang out, and it was just really good. And I got to a lot of different places, tried a lot of beer from different breweries, and that's really what it's all about. So, very few complaints.
Did you make it to that taco place?
No.
They were doing something every day.
Yep. No.
Hella good is as described. It's hella good.
And I have gone there for other events, and they do kind of kick butt. So. Very cool.
So I was gonna say yes. I am a huge fan. I got to go to the Battle of the Bands because it's just so badass to like even the smack talk on Twitter throughout the week. It's like our band's coming and you can't do anything about it. It's like,
and pictures of people practicing and stuff. Yeah, it was great.
What was the venue?
They did it at the Portland House of Music, which is this totally new place that used to be literally a florist.
We parked right next to it, Sean.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, I remember it.
It's a weird. It's just basically this corner thing with glass windows that's just basically a big open room with a stage in it. But they had it worked out perfectly for that. It was packed. So, yeah.
Now, Carla, how do you think that this kind of puts the rest? Like, do you think Portland's kind of like? Can it continue on this, or do you think it's going to kind of take a little nap for a little while and kind of, after the beer week's over? Like, how do you see it was Maine big centric of all these events around town. Does it make any changes to the city, or is it kind of just like, hey, it's another day tomorrow after this?
I feel like it made a big difference financially for all of the venues for that week. I'm not sure if it's going to have like a direct trickle-down effect for the next couple weeks, but it might be an effect where people went to a venue they hadn't been before, and now they're going to go visit that again sometime, or they may have, tried a brewery. So I think it doesn't have a long tail like from day to day. I feel like literally all of us are drinking water now, but but that, like, for example, that Portland House of Music does events all the time, but that's really the first time I've ever been down there for a show. So now that I know, what it's like down there, maybe I'll come back again. But we are really on the beginning in Maine of, of what will descend into winter where nobody goes out for anything. So it was nice to get a kind of one more boom for the restaurants and the breweries involved before kind of the quietness happens. But I think it is good just to kind of dim back down a little bit, but there's still people that are always doing events. So, there's always something going on at Novare, and, there's plenty to do, but I'm not sure it has a very, it's not going to be like tomorrow everyone's going to go back out again and have another beer week themselves. I think it's more of a longer term. They've been exposed now, and a couple weeks from now they're like, hey, where do you want to go? Oh, well, maybe let's go print Central Provisions because that was kind of cool.
Yeah. And I think, one of the benefits that we've seen is that if you can get some venues enthusiastic around craft stuff that wouldn't normally have done something beforehand, and then they experience Beer Week, whether they went to it or they hosted a Beer Week event, and they're like, hey, I can kind of get into this rather than this is my first time doing it, to like maybe I'll do something once a month or once every other month or something like that.
Yes, that's cool, and that's one side of the Beer Week. What I definitely suggest, if you're listening, not even from the Seacoast, if you're trying to kind of plan a Beer Week in your own town, I recommend, while venues being hyped are awesome, definitely get the brewers themselves hyped, because even though they probably didn't realize how like psyched out of my mind I was sitting in Central Provisions, with Todd, Mott, the Foundation guys, Ian, I'm like, that it means so much more to be at a venue where brewers are also at, just kind of hanging out. And that happens at Portsmouth Beer Week too, with Throwback and Stoneface walking around, and obviously there's Earth Eagle there, but to go to their events, but also just to be walking around. I mean, we were at Thirsty Pig and we saw guest number 1, Tom Bull, from the show, formerly a Bulljagger, and it's cool seeing royalty, and they probably don't consider themselves royalty, but damn it, they are. So it's cool seeing people out there. So get the brewery site to go out and do it. Don't just have them send beer. Send themselves. I don't know.
I really like that, because that's the reason why we like to go too, because we can see people that we know, and
or just people that like, or that make the beer and like can talk about it and just want to, you want to have a beer with the guy that made it. It's cool.
No, I don't know if you remembered our conversation with Allison at the Thirsty Pig. She said that the week itself is one of the slowest weeks for the restaurants in Portland, so that the weekday is really good for the crossover of seasons of tourism for the Portland area. That make it a really good time for that, to kind of help boost those restaurants in town.
Yes.
I think that's sort of the reason why Portsmouth Beer Week, unfortunately, is in one of the coldest months of New Hampshire in February, but it helps give a boost in a time when people need it.
Yep. Agreed. Totally agreed.
So let's so that's Portland Beer Week. We're gonna be talking about it every week anyway. No, I'm kidding. We'll talk about it when it comes back up. But I'm gonna try. Carly, you want to set this up, and I'll try to play this video. So again, for those that are listening to it, we'll put the link in the show notes to this actual video. But yeah, set this up, Carly. What do we got?
Yeah. So I saw this came across my feed randomly, and I thought, oh God, another random video about, we're all craft beer drinkers, blah 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 blah. But what it is that it's a video about being a woman as a beer drinker that isn't like preachy. It's just, here's what it's like to actually be a woman as a beer drinker in kind of our world, and we should just be aware of this. So it's short. It's like I don't know how long it is on your app there, but it's pretty short. So I just want to share it because
put it up.
I thought it was pretty cool.
Let me. It almost looks like is it by Bud Light? No, I'm just saying that font is kind of looks like it's trying to trigger. Hold on a second. Let me just. How do I do this?
Sometimes you never know. Sometimes you never know what video is made by.
Let me know. Let me go if you guys can hear it once I do this.
You're on mute.
I don't hear it because you're muted.
You're unmuted. You're muted.
So. And I don't see it either. Where is it not playing? What's up, Brian?
You guys can't hear it?
No, but
Can you
we
hear
can't see it either.
I mean, I can hear it because it's playing for me, but I don't know.
Oh.
It says like you will all hear it, but if you don't, then screw it. It says your mic is muted during video playback. Do you have like the YouTube video thing?
Oh! It's playing individually for me. Oh.
Oh, is it right? Still playing?
I can play it. Like if I hit the button, it'll play.
What if I share a screen and play it?
No, it's fine. It's weird. I don't know why it won't play. It's kind of, I mean, obviously it's our first time trying this thing, but it's because it says do you have the YouTube thing on the left? The little.
Yeah, now I have. Like I clicked on the YouTube thing, and now when you just played it there, it played for me for a second.
Is it paused right now?
Yes.
Okay, so Sean, don't share your screen.
Can you hear that?
No, but don't share your screen.
I don't know if you could hear that though.
Go back to. I saw that you seeked the video. This is this is live right here, folks. We're doing things here, and then try playing it whenever you get a chance. And then Sean, go to the toolbar on the left.
All right, I'm gonna hit play now.
Click the YouTube link. Go. Cool. So, can I give you initial reactions as to why I'm like, okay, whatever with this thing? Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
We can hear you.
Cool. So, number one, all commercials cut the crap with the ukulele. Stop. Just stop. Like, we get it. It's cool and it's Apple. I get it. Nice. Two, it's definitely more the venue's problem if their bartender forgets what you ordered. So I'm more pissed off at that than I am like who he gave it to, because if the same bartender gives you something different, be mad at him, but not about the gender thing going on. But it has happened to my wife and I as well. She'll order a sour, I'll order kind of a lighter beer, and they'll do a little swap-de. But yeah, cut it out with the ukulele. Great video though. But yeah, what are you guys' thoughts on that?
This is someone's marketing tool.
Oh, I'm sure it is. I don't doubt that at all.
I mean, I would actually think that most of the video was actually staged.
Well, sure it was.
Well, see, that's the thing. Okay, so everybody who I've shown this to has said that, but I have actually talked to some of the people who were involved in making this who say that it wasn't.
Wait, was this made out of Maine?
No.
Oh, okay,
no.
Carla's face was friendless.
It doesn't. To me, I don't even really give a crap if it's staged or even who made it. It is, to me, this is just a thing to illustrate what I've been unable to articulate to a lot of people.
Yeah, like, but if
I don't care if the whole thing was acted and scripted. I really don't.
No, right, because it happens. I know what you're saying.
So that's the thing. All the YouTube comments are all like, this would never happen in real life. And I'm like, yes.
It does. It for sure does.
That's my only argument in the whole thing, is that
yes.
I don't care what you think about the ukuleles. It happens. Okay?
But yeah, because I'm beyond that. So I'm complaining about something that shouldn't be complained about. I get it.
No. You know what I mean, though.
Yes.
But it's, to me, I've been whining for years about someone somewhere showing commercials that are about like normal beer drinking, like everybody can have beer, and put one in front of the girl and actually let the girl drink it instead of just bringing the beer to have the busty waitress put it down in front of the group of guys.
Yeah.
So this is one step closer to me, no matter who it's for. This is one step closer to me to at least having some images out there of girls like beer. And it doesn't matter that they like beer and that their boyfriend likes martinis.
And this does go beyond the bar too, which I believe is not just a book by John Tapper on Bar Rescue. Which we gotta have him on the show. I don't know why we're talking with him, but even at breweries, I'll admit local as well, might end up treating ladies a bit differently. My wife, it's obviously not their fault that they don't know who she or I am. But it's still, if they don't underestimate, or they just kind of treat them like they're not any knowledgeable. But we're now more than ever. Everyone's as knowledgeable, with just a click of the button or just a sip of any beer. They know.
Well, I mean, and it goes with a bunch of parallel stuff. This is just the whole people. The other thing is that people are like, oh, well, it's busy. The server made a mistake. Yeah, but I've actually been told, like, when I order a stout, they're like, I don't know, you might not like that. It's heavy.
Yeah.
Or, like, here's the wine list.
That's crazy though. Like that's borderline judgmental.
Really, do you know that's really bitter? Like they're trying to talk me down from what I ordered and it's just, I get it. Like, they want people to enjoy what they've ordered, but it's kind of crappy that they're doing that just based on my gender versus anything else that I've said. Because if I said, I don't want anything very bitter, and then I ordered like a double IPA, then you can say, I don't know, do you want that? Because you said you didn't want anything bitter. You just look at me and go, really? Because that's a double IPA.
That's so crazy. But that's nuts. Like on like another level, that if you're getting that kind of it is attitude, but it's coming from a different place from them. It's still kind of weird. It's like, would you really talk to your customer about that? Like, if I order something that's like, take a non-beer example. I was at Wingits in Portsmouth a couple weeks ago, and I ordered the second to hottest wings, and they go, it's pretty hot, that. I'm like, I know, it's near the top. Like, well, don't treat me like an idiot.
Well, yeah, but
not a bash against Wingits. Big fan.
How many times do you think that they have someone says, I can handle the hot, and then they give them and say, no, I don't, and then but then 9 times out of 10 that person complains. That server then has to give them a free appetizer, and that money comes out of their own till.
That's why it's not just my show. I like this conversation right here.
You have to, like, I'm talking about wings here. I'm not talking about beer here. I'm talking about wings here for a second.
Talking about hot beer.
Yes. So when someone orders something that's like an extreme of a food, people are just natural tendency of saying, "Hey, you gotta watch out for that because that is crazy," and that in the back of their mind they're thinking that if you have to give this back, it comes out of my pocket at the end of the day, and that's not nice to that person. And we don't see that as a customer because they want us to come back. But that person, if that happens 3 times a day, they're out of money.
Yep.
I will say that I've been to many places, and never at any point have I ever seen anything of that experience with people that I've been with. I've never been handed the wrong product for what I've ordered, but that may be related to where I go to have beers. So a lot of the venues that I go to, they expect that everyone comes in and says, I would like to have this beer or that beer or whatnot, and then you say, like, hey, I'd like to have a really hoppy IPA no matter what gender you are, and the server is like, this is like really over the top, this is little, which one do you want? And I can kind of guide you, not gender specific. Now, I will say on the gender specific in the beer world, people tend to like my wife better than me.
Well, that's his personality. She's such a nice person, and way nicer than you. Like, what? I mean, you for those that are listening and watching the show, you've heard Sean bash things 3 times already. This is an unprecedented show. So yeah, no, it's true. Yeah, I think we need an experiment. I think the 3 of us need to go out. Yep. Carla orders a beer. I will order a martini, and Sean will order
wine.
Wine. Oh, wine. Great.
Yeah. See how that ends up. I mean, but I think you have a point though, Brian. I forget who.
I mean, I always have good points.
Is that the places though that we typically go are more educated? They have better servers.
True.
They're paying attention. They're paying attention. They they don't do that. So, but if I go to that a more popular watering hole that's full of 21-year-olds and whatever, it may be a different experience. So, and I will say, I get most surprised when stuff like that happens to me at a craft beer bar because I'm always like, dudes, like what?
Right.
But when I'm at some frat boy hangout, then I'm just like, whatever.
Right. The stock exchange.
Although I will say, for those who are watching, there's an Easter egg in this video. I swear to God, Brian, you're in that video. Like,
wait, did you say me this before?
Yes, it looks like you're sitting next to the people at one of those bars. So there's a checkered shirt. You got the little sideburn thing. So if anybody can go get a good freeze frame of that, I swear to God, that is Brian.
It was me ordering a martini. I was super bald up here, so it was just. Sean, I was saving you because I know you're going for that, so I'm just gonna throw my yeah. he was getting ready for it, but
you're having a whiskey sour.
I was having a whiskey sour.
Yeah.
But yeah, so no, and I did get a text from someone watching that they couldn't see the video. Rest assured, the video is going to be in the show notes. But if you hashtag search "We All Love Beer," that means there's 3 L's in that. You'll see the video. But yeah, it's out there, and it is a good video. Obviously, it needs to be put out there. But Carla's right. A lot of restaurants need to take notice. There are a lot of breweries and beer bars that are doing just fine with.
Can we make another one that says "No one ever wants a beer in a frosty glass"? Is that too long of a hashtag?
Can we make that video? I think we can get someone to make that.
Stop freezing my beer,
It tastes like God, yeah. No, we need.
That's what I will. That's what I will not get calmed down. Like I get so angry, especially there are nice restaurants to do that.
I want cold beer, not a cold glass.
Hashtag for stop freaking freezing my beer.
So
we all hate frozen beer. I don't know.
There's snobby complaints, and then there's things that's completely accurate, like frosty mug beer is boo. No, it's no bueno. No. Yeah, I mean, treat people with respect here. We got it's a loving podcast right here.
Just the idea of the frosty mug. It's like, would you like a frosty mug, or do you want the bottle?
There's a couple institutions though, even in New Hampshire, locally too, that they
you don't have a choice but frosty mug.
Right. No. So there's a couple great places that have been around forever here in Portsmouth in New Hampshire that their trademark is a frosty mug, and it's just yikes. And you all know what I'm talking about. I know Sean does. But it's still
cold lager in it, then I wouldn't care. But when they put my rogue dead guy in it,
Sean.
Try.
Yeah, exactly. I know. It's I got a fridge right here. No, don't go for the fridge. What I order is on draft, not in the fridge where that cold glass is. I want those glasses that are on the same level as my draft list right here. So the link is in the show notes, which I will get toot sweet to everybody to check it out. That might have to do it. I know, Sean, did you have something else you want to talk about? Yes, real quick. I want to know about what the Hop Talks.
So Hop Talks, well, this was the second version of it, or second event of it. First event was in Nashville a couple months ago. This was held at the Red Hook Brewery in Portsmouth. And it consisted of, it was very similar to what we've participated in the Beer Bloggers Conference, where a round table of brewers kind of talking about the market and the scene, how they got started, and then at the end having a quick Q&A. This year, if you don't, this Hop Talk was based on Seacoast breweries. So it started off with Beer Irish. Michael from Beer was there. And then it went to Nicole from Throwback. Then it's probably not going to be the right order. The new brewery, Oddball Brewing, Bill Walden was there.
Okay.
So he's out of Pembroke, which is right south of Concord. In addition, there was Scott from Great Rhythm, Errol from Stoneface. JT spoke on behalf of Smutty Nose, and the comedian and really entertaining. And sorry, whoever else is listening, one of the most entertaining presenters tonight was Uncle Frank from Red Hook from CBA, and he actually went into the difference between love versus passion. And you may not realize that he as a growing up was very close to being a top 25 BMX bike rider in the world. He reached the rank of 27th. That's why his Twitter handle is BMX Frank.
Oh, big shout out.
I didn't actually know what his passion behind that, but he kind of correlated that into his whole beer and brewery career, where he's worked at multiple different places, including Newport Storm, along with what's the pub that's in Cambridge that's been there for a long time?
Cambridge Brewing Company?
No.
I'm just fucking with you.
Fort Hubbo?
No, like Frank. It's owned by Harvard.
Sunset?
Oh, John Harvard's?
John Harvard's, yes.
Yeah.
But there was a John Harvard's of Connecticut that he brewed at for a while, and this is kind of. And he worked at He started a homebrew shop. He worked at a liquor store. So he did the full circuit before he actually made it to Red Hook.
So what was the event like? How did the event go?
So
I saw some photos.
So basically, everyone, you come in, you sit around a table, you get poured 2 beers from each brewery, a brewer representative speaks and kind of talks about whatever their topic is. You try their beers, and then you get a break, and then the next brewery, and then they kind of repeat, and for all 7 people who spoke. And then at the end, it was a big Q&A session. So it's very different. You get to kind of be stationary. They bring you food, and it was quite entertaining. The speaker that all of us could have listened, I think we listened to for at least half an hour, that we probably could have listened to for at least 3 more hours, was Peter Eggleston, who gave a great presentation. And I don't even know if it's a presentation. He just got up there and spoke about the industry now and then. He made some very interesting comments. One of them, and I think we could probably talk about it on the show for hours, was that he had a situation quite recently within the last year where he was with another colleague or a bunch of colleagues at a different activity, and someone said to him, "Hey, kid, you know that we're still basically working on like those hard systems, non-automated, and really just we're doing the real brewing." And he looks at him and he goes, "What are you talking about? I'm on an automated system. I just spent so much money to build out this new brewery, and my whole brewery is now automated." And he kind of talked about the fact that in any other technology, or into the company, it's all about the technology and where that you can upgrade your systems to, and how fancy that your actual technology is. Where in the brewing world, people are like, "I did it the hard way. I had to do all of this stuff myself." And I had to,
both ways.
Yeah, there was no automation in my brewing, and I couldn't control the temperature of my fermentation. And he really kind of spoke to the crowd and said, like, "Hey, it's an opposite world of where everybody else is," in that, everyone wants to get to that point where that they can have that automated brewing system, where that they can optimize everything that they're doing and have better quality control and be really proud of what they're doing. And he said that 20 years ago, when he first walked into Red Hook in Portsmouth, he was really slighted and jaded, and that he felt that it was him against Red Hook, because he was really working hard every day to use this equipment that he bought from all these other places, and that he's Mickey Mouse it together. He didn't use this. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, and that he had to build something from nothing, and that now, in retrospect, he's sort of not jealous but appreciative of what Red Hook is, and what their scalability is, and how big their brewing system is, and how much effort it does. Like, I mean, if they mess up on a large batch, I mean, that's a lot of equity and so it's kind of a really interesting perspective. And he actually even got to a point in this conversation where he goes, "There's a lot of fighting and conversations about that everybody in the craft world should hate the big guys." And he mentioned Anheuser-Busch, Miller Coors, Heineken, and he mentioned some of the other bigger guys. And he said that in the craft world, we actually all need them, because that with all the craft gains, that you actually see that where the big guys are reducing in their volume, the craft is not gaining at that same pace. Okay. So that we actually need to collectively, the big guys, to be doing better, then it actually helps craft do better. And then it keeps the overall mind and share in a stake of beer being stronger and more opportunity and possibility. So, that's just a small excerpt of what he said. All the videos will be posted online because it was in partnership with, they're working in conjunction with Slate Roof Films.
Well, who made the Brew Hampshire, right?
Brew Hampshire, which is actually playing on Thursday night at the Snob Film Festival in Concord, which is somewhere north of Boston. It's playing there. And
Concord, Mass.
New Hampshire.
Oh, you said somewhere north of Boston?
Yeah, that's what they call it, the Snob Film Festival. So if I can get a drum roll, please. The first announcement for Portsmouth Beer Week 2016, we will be featuring Brew New Hampshire as the movie feature.
Yeah, it's a music hall?
Venue to be determined.
Okay, yeah. I didn't mean to toss it out there, but
we're going to be working to drive ahead and host that movie for the week.
Cool. Never seen it. Heard good things. It's been out, but yeah. So I know you've been on fire tonight, Sean. I'm not going to ask any hard questions that might set you off. But is this an event that you would like to see again? And would you recommend checking these videos out to a friend?
You know what? I would. I think participating, you have to be open. You have to say that this is going to be something different.
You mean participating as in attending?
Attending, yeah.
Okay.
It's going to be different. You have to get into it.
Yeah.
And it was sort of for us, like, we've gone to the Beer Bloggers Conference. We kind of know what to expect from it. But it's a really good opportunity just to listen and understand what people have gone through.
Sure.
So, like the new brewery, Oddball Brewing, they were mentioning that they had 540-something days that they were from the beginning of when they started to when they actually opened their brewery. And that in their demolition, they took out 14,000 pounds of stuff that they were removing out to get rid of to build out their brewery. So that of debris. So you kind of hear what a lot of other people are going through.
It's cool because it didn't seem super snobby, but it was like the type of information that you would want to know if you wanted to be, if it's just kind of like, I want to know more about this.
And the weirdest thing is that, and I don't know if you guys have sensed this too, there's a lot of people who are opening breweries that have never worked in the beer industry prior.
Well, it reminds me of politicians that are running that have no experience in politics at all.
And now we're rounded out, like we started out with a hit, and now we're gonna cap it right there. We're stopping it. Because I mean, do we all see Trump this weekend on SNL? Let's talk about that.
That was actually pretty funny.
Drunk Uncle was the best. I'm just tossing it out there. Drunk Uncle is always the best on that show. But yeah, so Sean, thanks for going to that.
That sounded really cool. Do you know if they recorded that or anything? Because that sounded like awesome.
Yeah, there's videos coming out. You said, right?
Yeah. Sorry.
Yep. No. So we'll tweet them out, and maybe if they're up by next week, we'll put them up. I mean, it doesn't sound like they need to be highly produced. I mean, this podcast is highly produced, but I don't know if they do if they got to go through some sort of editing before putting them up. But maybe by next week we'll have them on the show notes.
Now, I failed to mention that the host that was doing it's put on by Hophead United. They're a new player to the New Hampshire scene, but they teamed up with Michael from the Tap Handle Show.
Great podcast.
MHP.
Yes. If you guys want like a nice, so they do a lot of guest breweries, but I think they basically covered all of New Hampshire. So check it. It's pretty badass. And Sean, you were on that show early on, right?
Very early on, maybe like their 4th episode.
So skip that one. And then just go to the other ones. They're all the other ones are great except for episode 4. Get out of there with that. But yeah, so check it out. And what I liked about that, it was at 4:00 in the afternoon on a Sunday, which is not like high traffic area for even Red Hook. But I wanted to go, but I was in the area. I woke up out of my coma at 1:00. My wife and I went to Portsmouth Brewery and Earth Eagle for lunch, and I had to go back home. I was like, nope, I came out of my coma way too early. I had to go to bed right now. So it was not
back
happening.
to hibernation.
Yeah, back to, and so we ended up playing video games again, which was a terrible idea. Video games are a terrible idea for the kids. But I think that's gonna do it. Carly, everything else you want to talk?
No, I'm good. I'm gonna miss next week, but I'll tell you why when I get back.
Oh, you can't tell us till after.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Well, only because I don't have the final itinerary right now. So if you ask me questions, I can't tell you.
Totally fine.
I haven't. I'm getting it tomorrow. So.
Sweet. So handle that.
I'm going away.
Going away on business, but it's like beer business, maybe. So yes, Sean, for sure. But this is a open call out. If anyone wants to come on the show, because I can't do this show alone with Sean, so I need somebody else to come on.
We have a possible guest for next week.
Okay, we'll talk about that on the side. Any upcoming events, Sean, that you want to give a quick shout out to before we close this mother down?
Yeah, we've talked about it for the last couple of weeks, and it's something near and dear to my heart. I'm a big fan of Nerex.
Yes.
Nerex North starts on Thursday. I like the fact that the show's on Monday. We can actually give a preview for the week, so we get this up at time.
I mean, yeah, if I post it in time, that's up to me. I'll get in there. Yeah. I'll do it tomorrow, I promise.
In addition to that, starting Sunday, and I don't know if I'm going to... I was thinking like we should make a road trip, Brian, but that would be a longer road trip if you can get out a little bit early.
Yes.
Go to Connecticut Beer Week next week, which is the 15th to the 21st. Also, there's a brewfest that's been going around for 6 years, but I've never gone to it yet. I've heard about it before, and it's a Sustainable Brewfest on November 20th at the cruise port in Boston. It's also the same weekend as the Harvest Beer Summit. And something that I didn't mention, I was going to attend on Saturday, but I just couldn't fit into my schedule. Amber went to the Sam Adams For Love of Beer Fest.
Oh, cool.
Which is formerly the Sam Adams Oktoberfest that was held at the Castle. Yes. It was hosted this time at the Rose Kennedy Greenway, which is that sort of grassy knoll area between the North End and Faneuil Hall area.
Okay. So
it was hosted over there, and she actually said that Big Boss Man himself, Jim Cook, was in town.
I thought you said Big Boss Man was in town, but he's dead. So
yeah, the Big Boss.
But Jim Cook's alive. Sorry, wrestling is. I gotta go down and watch Raw. That's my brain. That's cool though. She had a good time though.
She did. She saw the infamous Jamie McGee.
Yeah, infamous.
Love that guy.
That's the right word, for sure. Cool. Yeah, and so from what I did hear from someone who's close to the event, that if you are interested in volunteering, they're looking for plenty of volunteers this weekend at the Nerex Fest. It comes with a party, I believe, on Saturday night. Sean, am I correct in saying?
Yep.
So after it's all done, they do a thank you for all the volunteers. But even if you're not even interested in casks, this is still a great event. There's some awesome people there, and it was my intro into cask beers. I met Sean there for the first time. I met JT from Spiny Nose for the first time at 2009 Nerex. So it was awesome. I mean, it's good times, great beers, and there's even cask ciders now, which I hear all the rage.
It's held at the Barking Dog Ale House in Haverhill.
So kind of across or down the street from the tap, right?
Yeah, and it's walking distance from the train.
Yes.
So
Purple Line. Yes, for those.
Even from Portlanders, you can take the train right down, and it's a non-stop directly to Haverhill.
We got a shout out. You can ask Amber if she ended up seeing Frosty DG at the Sam Adams Fest and didn't say hi. So I'm just saying. I'm not saying that Frosty DG said hi, but maybe it was a missed opportunity of saying hello.
Misconnection.
Yeah. Oh well, not really, but I mean, kind of different. But yeah. So again, if you have any interest, so if anyone listening has any interest in volunteering, I'm gonna put this up as quick as I can tomorrow. You can email me at secretsbeveragelab@gmail.com, and I can forward you to the appropriate peeps for sure. The events are there in the show notes. I don't have much else going on. I am still in my kind of haze from what was going on. There was something else I wanted to quickly shout out. Nope, got nothing. I did, like I said, I managed to go over to Portsmouth Brewery and Earth Eagle. Their taps continue to rotate. I say check them out as per usual. Restaurant Week is now in Portsmouth. So I suggest checking that out. I went to Franklin Oyster House for the first time, and my Atlanta, awesome. And that was actually it has nothing to do with the video, except that every time the waiter brought out our food, they swapped genders. But for no real reason. Like the guy gave me the salad, but I'm like, it was come on here. So it was charcuterie and salad. They gave me the salad. We're like, let's switch it up here. And then the food came out. It was fried.
We all love meat.
Yeah, it was. I should have wore that shirt. And then it was fried chicken and ramen, and I'm like, you know where that fried chicken's going. I'm just making sure we're on the same page. But great food. But definitely check it out. Oh, and real quick, I checked out the Velvet Merkin we were talking about last week. I checked it out at not the actual Merkin because I don't even know what that looks like, but the beer I tried at Row 34, the only place to get in New Hampshire, and it was very tasty. And the staff knew about it too because I asked, "Do you have the Firestone?" They're like, it's the only place you can get it. I'm like, that's why I came here. Let's give it to me. And it was really good. It was super good. It had a taste of like a almost imperial, but it wasn't super boozy. It was a very nice oatmeal stout. I really liked it. So shout out to them. But with that, if no one has anything else, I'm going to shut this show down because there's Monday Night Raw to watch, and there's a lot to go, a lot to catch up on. But to Sean with the harpoon, Carlo with the agua, and me here finishing out with the Julius from Treehouse. Cheers, guys, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye.